Hey investors, the US dollar is crashing, but will the stock market actually skyrocket from here? So for today's macro market, it's 29 April 2025. So we have received another surge of profit signals again. So this aligns back to last week. There is a bear trust, which typically signals a pretty good, strong momentum from here. So today, let's look at the S&P 500 from an overall market standpoint. So on the immediate basis, right, we have broken out of this downtrend line. So few things can happen. If it will continue to go up, definitely it will challenge all these 200 days stable moving average and then continue to go down, marking a higher low, and then the market can continue to go up. Secondly, it can actually become a bad bull trap over here, which market continue to go back down, test this previous second low or the previous low, forming a double bottom, and eventually market can continue to go up as well. But of course, in the worst case scenario, Donald Trump went crazy again. No, in fact, he's still crazy right now. So if you continue to stay crazy and continue to make weird move, the market can continue to tank down, which the odds is actually less likely. The odds of, my personal take is that the odds of at the very least a double bottom will be much higher than a full-on collapse. But then at the same time, right, like right now, there is the market is really just looking for direction because nothing is done. Like there's no 90 deals in 90 days and whatever. And just this morning, I came across this interesting independent news that just about a few weeks ago, Donald Trump was supposedly negotiating with Japan, and he was saying that Japan used some bowling ball and to stress test the US car, and he thinks that is horrible. But those Japanese people was like quite stunned because no such thing happened. So apparently, right, Donald Trump seems to be having some sort of like a dementia, and just don't look at what he says, but look at how he behaves. And might be disillusioned, might be hallucinating, might be unable to complete a simple sentences, might be unable to pronounce a certain words correctly. So all these are signs of a certain frontal lobe kind of dementia and all, so you can go and search on that. So my personal take is this: until a certain point, right, the world will just move on without US. Not because we hate them. Actually, all of us, we only hate one person. And so, but because of survival, the world needs to move on. And if he continues to stay in office, it's only a matter of time where the world will just continue to move on. But but let's say if he want to save face for himself, then he can just admit that there is some health issue, and then he can just step out. Then probably the world will continue their life without him. But since there's not much development for the time being, so this morning I was doing some research about certain things that concerns me as well. So what if the US reputation actually affect the stock market? And from the GPT research, it doesn't really directly affect. So at some point of time, even if the dollar, let's say, my personal take is that, let's say if the bonds and the dollar were to crash a lot, then would that actually affect a lot? The odds of that happening, which is a full-on collapse, is unlikely, like 5%. But then most of the case should be currently we're slowly trending upwards. So even if the dollar were to fall, it doesn't really destroy the value of Microsoft and Apple, which I agree also, because at the end of the day, right, we don't want to continuously keep cash because we want to convert our cash to buy assets. And there's also a reason why I do macro markets. There's also a reason why I do 100K to fire movement, and also the accelerator program, the evergreen wheel strategy method. Like all these IP are assets. So I want to build assets and I want to buy assets as well. So I personally believe in this as well. In terms of the tariffs and broken supply chain, this will slowly hurt the economy, but we won't really see this until probably about two to three quarters later, which is towards the end of the year. So we got to just have a look-see kind of mentality for time being. And what histories and also latest facts shows us, right, about a third of S&P 500 companies sales comes from outside, and of course for the Mac 7, more than 50% came from overseas as well. And I guess probably most of us use Google, and then we either use Apple or Microsoft, and also Microsoft. We might actually use both of them, right? So because of this, right, like these companies, they already have a global influence already based on the product and service. As long as we have product or services that people want, then that is an asset. So then next, right, next studies is that the dollar and stock price don't usually move perfectly together. So sometimes the stock can go up and the dollar can go up together as well. And sometimes the stocks can go up while the dollar goes down. So it doesn't really give a direct correlation. So because of this, right, before I carry on, lastly, right, for the Fear and Greed Index, we have possibly have a clean breakout from this immediate downtrend line. My personal take is that would likely be another leg down, forming a higher low around 23, and at the same time forming an inverse head and shoulder, and market sentiment continue to shift upwards. But of course, even if we will shift upwards towards the neutral area, we might actually crash down again because Donald Trump continue to stay crazy. Other than that, because of this, right, I'm just going to continue my strategy. So currently I'm net long. So in the event the market will continue to go up, I'll continue to roll my options towards strike 13, 14, 15. 15 will lock in my initial capital, and then eventually if the market were to go up too fast, it doesn't really matter because I'm net long, so I will be net profit as well. Side markets, it doesn't really matter also because evergreen wheel strategy, or rather my newest true evergreen wheel strategy, my long shot, will be able to generate double premiums from both angles, both sides as well. In the event the market will go down, market has already tanked a lot, so what is worse? I've already gone through probably the worst. So I'm just going to continue my position sizing, size it conservatively, so that I will always have firepower to take on the market movement as well. If not, I'll continue to read through this product, this report, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye.